Hi everybody, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something ultra juicy. My name is Bella Jade Michaels. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And there is a big reason I am bringing this on board, okay, because not too many people are really talking about it, or they're just offering some of the ancient arts that are really helping people, and I did say ancient, liberating people, because we are in a deep shift during our time. We have a big wave of consciousness. What the heck does that mean? Anyway, consciousness is, simply put, it's a change in perception that can only really happen when you hit rock bottom and you suddenly realize that everything that has been going on, I feel like I have a little thing right about me, everything that has been going on in your life doesn't make any sense anymore. And all of the hard work or all of the incredible efforts that you put out don't seem to have a reciprocation or a return the way they said things would happen. So everything seems in question, okay? And when this happens, consciousness becomes a vessel, because it is not something that we find, it's something that we're born with. So we're born with both dynamics, duality, dark and light. And the moment from when we're born, we're really clouded. Our whole life is about trying to find out who we are. And consciousness is that vessel, it's that spark inside us, so that we've endured so much pain, so much kensho, we can't do it anymore. We go, I give up, just give me something, and we fall into grace, okay? And the moment we do that, we spark open that space in our heart. And most often what happens is there's this sense of peace, and I'm talking about consciousness here, a sense of peace, a sense of wonder and miracle, a sense of empowerment. Things become very clear, very beautiful. And then over time, it seems to pull away and people don't really understand. They wonder if it was a temporary kind of thing. But consciousness isn't like a one-time stick-it deal. Consciousness is always like a lotus flower coming out. And I like to think of it like this. It's like the leaves that just keep budding and budding, and the ones in the bottom you don't need anymore in life, they fall away. So it's a continuous process of you just blossoming into your beautiful self. So before we really get into what the heck I'm talking about here, I want to backtrack just a little bit into history, okay? Because when we're talking about consciousness and we're talking about sex, it's not something we really see too much anymore these days. It's just like a drop of water. What we see today is a very distorted view of what sex is supposed to be. People have just got bodies coming together here, and they've confused lust with love. Oh, if I just have sex with you and it's really great sex, we're gonna love each other forever and this is gonna be great forever, and it's all bullshit, okay? That's the truth. So the consequence of not doing this consciously, because the act of sex itself has so much power. You can use this, not even with a partner, you can use this energy to literally transform. It's like alchemy, it's energy, we're all energy. And that particular energy of orgasm, and used in a conscious manner, it produces these huge sparks of all orgasms just over and over. So men, that if you're thinking this is just about ladies and I'm just talking about the girls having multi-orgasms, I'm not. This is one of the little drops of nectar for you, or a big huge one rather, is that during the course of that kind of connection with your partner in consciousness, and when the lingam, which is the penis, enters the yoni, which is the vagina, it's his wand of light is literally going into a place where there is such an opening and a receiving of his gift that if he learns how to use his ejaculation, his energy to pull up, he doesn't lose the charge, he doesn't lose the sensation at all. In fact, as I see this, it's like 100 times more. I mean, it fills the entire body. It goes all the way up and out, and he loses none of his life force. Instead, he gains a lot of energy. And so let's take a step back. I know I kind of derailed a little bit, but this has been going on from what I have found is back to biblical time. I mean, that's kind of the chart that I have, as far as like we have Sumerian and some of that stuff, but we have to, go by what we have. And so most of what I understand is, in India culture, Orient, and that kind of thing. This was very open. And there were places that people would go as couples. It was these temples. They were holy places to go and to learn how to consciously merge, to do this act that was consciously going to elevate us even more, and to do it in a space where we worshiped ourselves and each other. And through history and through time, we had a lot of wars, we had a lot of religious wars, and that died off. In fact, the goddess, the representation of the goddess, died out altogether with it, which is an extremely bad thing because, I'm going to use the word bad because we need a balance. And we don't have a balance right now, but we are definitely working to bring that up. So what I find in this space is that those kinds of temples, where they were crushed, the essence and the truth of what was there was written and documented, recorded and held. And those turned into the Kama Sutra, they turned into Tantra, they turned into things like that. They were about really integrating energy, using life force to actually wake up the mind, and that women would be so in tune with their passion. Trust me, this is what men live for, or your partner for that matter, same sex or opposite either. We just love to please the partner, and there is no better way to do that than by doing this consciously. So, what's the difference between conscious sex and unconscious sex? Unconscious sex is what you see every single day. I meet two bodies, you're hot, wow, let's screw, we must be in love, let's start a relationship, okay, which is always turbulent because the truth is we bring our shit into the mix and try to screw it away, and it doesn't happen. Sex in itself, I said, has a tremendous charge, and its nature is to connect you deeply, is to peel away layers of shame, of parts of you that you may not be willing to embrace. There's a full acceptance in the act of sex. And so we have to really honor that, okay? And unfortunately, when you're bringing unconscious individuals, which are people who they aren't working out their emotional mess, okay? They're looking for the outside person to come in to make it all better for them, and it never happens. It's a short term, even if the sex is dynamite, your stuff's gonna come out, and their stuff's gonna come out, and that's what's gonna be left in the middle. So by consciousness, obviously, we have to grow the mind to open up to this, and the easiest way to do that, of course, you've heard, is meditation, and that is as old as the dirt, I think, on this planet, all right? And a lot more people are doing that, and consciousness is all about opening the mind so that you can receive it. Because I will be honest with you, it's like an initiative ability. When the mind is unconscious, it is small and is primarily run by the amygdala, the reptilian part of the brain, so it's hyper-reactive, it talks before it thinks straight, it makes decisions based on instant gratification. Its number one ideal is me, and pleasure, and it's governed by the ego. And when you decide, and it really is a decision to become conscious, and you begin to meditate, you really got a lot of work to just empty and learn to not be those thoughts and those emotions, and recognize that they've come from lots of different sources. So, getting to the point of sex. When you take two conscious people together, and I don't mean perfect, I mean people that are definitely aware of where their weaknesses, their strengths are, and how to work through their own mess, okay? And you bring those people together, what happens in conscious sex is there is a slowing down. See, realistically, we have a time element problem in sex. For men, if they're really amped up and they've been thinking about it and they're just going crazy, they can have an ejaculation in about 2 minutes. For women, even if you're hot and horny and you are ready to go, it takes you about 15 to 20 minutes to reach that peak where you are ready to go for another 20 to 30 minutes. And now, I don't mean going and going and going and not stopping. That's what we see a lot today as the representation of sex, is to just get in there and go until you come or can't do it anymore. And that's not actually celebrating the body or honoring the body at all. In fact, the yoni and the lingam are looked at as just things to pound on each other, okay? Most people don't even have any idea. Set aside from the fact that we have a lot of knowledge about the yoni and all of the nerve endings, so we have a lot of knowledge about the lingam and how all of those things work as well. We have very little knowledge about its true essence and power to awaken each other during those moments of, let's call it intimate integration. Now, having said that, you still can have same-sex partners and have a very conscious, beautiful mending. So you don't have to have lingam inside of yoni or anything like that. You don't have to. That isn't even it. You can get to the space with your partner and you are breathing into them, and that's the first thing you're doing is you're looking into each other's eyes and you're connecting and you're breathing back and forth, and then you're going to build this energy and you're going to start to move the breath together and thinking about breathing them in, and your hormones and your pheromones will start to charge, and you are literally rising up your energy levels to create this incredible auric field around yourself. Sometimes people say that it blossoms like flowers, different flowers. It's quite amazing. And so conscious sex is slow, deliberate, and always present. Unconscious sex is just thinking about how you can get so turned on so that you can get off and get on with the rest of your day. And then the rest of your day, you're still dealing with your bullshit problems, okay? Now, conscious sex is not like a cure-all, like you go there and I'm just gonna, screw my way to enlightenment, because we know that there are so many facets to being a conscious individual, and it's a journey, a lifetime journey, many lifetime journeys, okay? So consciously coming to a space where you can understand that there is a real power within each part of your genitalia and each part of your soul, and that you're not your body, but this is the body you were given. As you take the best care you can of it for yourself, and when you're loving and honoring yourself, your partner sees that as well, and vice versa. And so consciously, we're talking about really bringing the best parts of us, being totally aware that that's what we're doing in the moment when we're engaging. And now, conscious sex is not generally, but it can be quick and fun and very rambunctious, if you want to call that. Most of the time, it is slow, lovemaking, connecting, and there are many moments when the man is not erect and he is still very satisfied. Women tend to think that if a man has a hard-on, he can only feel pleasure. It isn't true. And you're having these moments of exchange, which are really necessary for our own evolution, for our own growth. This is the one space we can create another life, okay? And so that's really important. Even in the space of our mind, how we're creating another life is going to have an impact on that baby. So the temples we had, they fell to the ground. What we have now is kind of a handful of things that we know we can move with. We know that we're rising up to understand that women are really a lot more than what we've been subjugated to being, and men are recognizing that too, for sure. I'm seeing a big stand up for men and women's rights right now, and especially in their own sexuality. I've got tons of good feedback from men saying, yes, we want to see you stronger, we want to see you happier, because I understand, and you should too after this, that in conscious sex, I know I said it earlier, in conscious sex, it is the woman that opens like this treasure box, and this man that receives, he has this wand of light that shines within her, and she opens her heart, and it comes through her body, and it is received right back down. And so he has this honor, this beautiful privilege. He sees her yoni as not something that just how it's depicted, is something that is supposed to get you off. It becomes like a vessel for his own enlightenment. And there is a real, I'm trying to find the word for that, but it becomes much more almost like the worship of each other. Understanding that this can be used to become much more clear and at peace, and to use it for what it's meant for. So let me go over the consequences of continuing down the path we're in, where we already know that people are killing each other, and they're doing it in film. People are gagging, people are making requests left and right for women to hurt themselves, gag themselves, vomit, choke themselves, many other things that are highly abusive. And men are subjugating themselves to humiliation because they don't want to work out shame, same as women. And we are finding that this is a real distortion. That if a person wants to be hurt on purpose, physically harmed on purpose, there's definitely some work to do on the inside. Now, I'm a kinky bitch, okay? But at no time do I have like this need to actually physically harm something else. Never need it, don't need it, not even interested. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. We're really looking for that. All pain is attached to a hurt and an anger, and all that needs to be dealt with. And I'm not saying that, if we take this dynamic out, it'll make it bored. And, we find ways, but no one should ever be killed, maimed, hurt, or nothing. And they should not be feeling like they're having to put themselves in position to prove something. For a small amount of time, I got into the camming business, and I do mean a small amount of time. And it was a flippin' horror show, and I'm going to be real clean about that, okay? And what I understand from the instantaneous need to see pornography and how it rolls so fast, because we don't work that way. We don't naturally work that way. We have to walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, my name is, I'm interested in talking to you. Can we exchange phone numbers? Have them phone call you. Let's go on a few dates." And then that works up to a progression of sex. Okay, so those do a different training of the mind chemicals. When you're doing internet porn, it's like instant heroin, okay? And so that does something different to the brain. And it's come with a consequence. Now we're seeing, erectile dysfunction disorder in men as early as 20. All right, so it is absolutely just messing their heads up, okay? Because we don't operate like this, and women don't either. I mean, I've never in my life seen more women numb themselves out as fast as they can and do some pretty harmful things to a place they don't fully understand. All right, and they're doing it all in the need for money and attention, because they're wanting that. They're thinking that's going to make me whole. For me, I was freaking desperate. I was trying to get money for my kids. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm just going to be honest. And I got out of it because I didn't want any part of it. I didn't want any part of that kind of world that was doing those kinds of things, because sex is beautiful. It is amazing. There's nothing shameful about the human body whatsoever. It is lovely and wonderful to be celebrated. And that is not what was happening in that world for sure. Okay, so I had to get out of that. And when I realized the impact that was actually having on the whole, on the globe, I was really concerned. And I'm just use that word, concerned, but bigger, okay? Like, okay, what you see just can't be happening anymore, because I already know that people are driving towards pleasure so hard that they're almost willing to just kill themselves over it. So that's where we're headed. We're headed into more suicides or more homicides or more insanity, more crazy diabolical ways to try and inflict pain on each other or ourselves, because deep down, that's what you think you deserve. And that might be hard to hear, but it's true. There's a lot of crap that needs to be dealt with. And so consciously coming to a space like this is only going to be for people who are really strong enough to take it. There's still going to be a lot of people out there that are just ego driven, and they just are like, "Ma'am, I just want to bang you, and I want to be done with it, and I want to get on with my life, and I might be doing the chick down the road 10 minutes from now." There are a lot of people that aren't going to care. Those people aren't for you. Okay? That's a short-lived, sad way of doing things, avoiding the real issue, which is their own inner guilt and their shame and their feelings of not worthy, being worthy, and being enough. All right, and that's where it has to come down to. We have to sit down with ourselves and we have to clear out some of the shit that's inside ourselves so we can bring the best to our partner. And even if you don't have a partner, you can still use conscious sex to elevate your own. So what do? Use your whole senses. Light the room up with candles if you like it. Use some incense. Give yourself that time to love yourself. Maybe draw yourself a bath. Begin your foreplay early. And then by the time you are having orgasms, and there are some movements, you rock your hips, you want to be really in your body, breathing and using your voice, opening up so that you're opening your, this chakra right here gets just chopped down in society for women. Don't talk, you need to be seen and not heard. So in conscious sex, we tell both men and women just, get it out of you. Get it out of you. And then it just kind of, it comes like flows of ecstasy. At first, it's almost like I just need to be getting it out, and it's huge. And so that's why you want people, your partner, to be with you that's going to understand all of this stuff that's going to merge out, and you can embrace each other and love each other and support each other and thrive together. And, you know, when you're doing conscious sex, I just want to mention this, jealousy goes right out the window. So that whole thing about you're mine and I'm yours and it's only me forever, and you know, if you have an attraction to this, it means something else, it means this or that, and it doesn't mean anything. Okay, so here's the thing, it's like, you know, if you're jealous of a toy, if you're jealous of a girl, if you're jealous of a guy, for myself, I'm a bisexual woman who prefers to have both a man and a woman with me. Okay, so like a triad partnership. All right, and in that partnership, there does not need to be any weirdness where you can do this to me, but you can't do this to her, or you can't do this to her, but you can't do this to him. See, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So there really has to be this open, conscious releasing of all our own inner garbage, all our own worries about being enough, and that's really what it is. That's really what it is, because we start to second guess ourselves and everything else, and our whole body and the inner critic kicks up. And what I'm trying to tell you is this: imagine a world where that didn't matter. I mean, imagine where you could really love your partner and not feel like you needed to hold on or clutch into because you had to find some kind of security, and he needed to find a good woman, or, you know, all of these things that we talk about. And imagine what it's like to find someone who has this awareness, this opening to share this with you. And that if you do happen to broaden that out, it doesn't mean that you love each other any less. I mean, this is the old way of doing things. This is the ancient ways of doing things, where we didn't hold attachments, we didn't have ownership or entitlement or anything like that. We didn't validate our reasons for suppressing another person or telling them what they can do or being overly controlling, because relationships today are about control. And you don't have any control over anybody but yourself. And that's enough work. So, I hope this was eye-opening for you. Definitely going to be having some more stuff on this in the future. Also, I just want to remind you, ladies, Sacred Sensual Dance is about really stirring the energy, that energy that really gets all that moving, you're healing and letting it come up. And again, your orgasms will be just ascending and letting it come out through the voice and letting it come out through the breath and letting it be a wave and allowing yourself to feel your body, allowing yourself to feel your breast. For a lot of us have gone through trauma, we're numb in places, and we need to reawaken those by loving them for who they are, what they are. Really, you know, this is the body we have. It's what we're in, but we're not our body. So we have to stop coming to a place where we believe that that's what sex is. It needs to be a meeting of the souls, not a meeting of the bodies. Okay? All right. I love you guys. Till next time, be amazing, be beautiful, be you.